Hey there, it's Elisa, the Half Asian Tarot Queen, and I'm gonna miss this neighborhood. This is the neighborhood of my shop. We're right across the street from the Future, which is this awesome metaphysical shop. And it just snowed today, so I just did some shoveling. Not sure if I'm gonna have to do much more of that shoveling, but yeah. Just another shout out. I'm packing up our shop now. And I've got a lot of equipment for sale still, so if anyone's in the market for that, working hard on something at the bottom of the deck. But yeah, happy Thanksgiving! I was planning on going home to see my mom and dad, but you know, this whole shop packing up thing is coming up, so I'm here and just kind of grateful for the last moments that I have for this era, which I've talked about, but like I'm closing down this shop. I ran a vegan cheese company out of here, and I've been doing that for 10 years, and everything's in transition, and it's kind of a crazy moment in time. So anyways, back to the reading. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm grateful for change and this experience. It's a little unsettling and unnerving at this moment, but I'm still grateful for it. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. So overall energies for the reading, we got the Queen of Pentacles. So this can be a businesswoman. It's someone who's very nurturing, has a really solid foundation. Someone you want to have on your team. Very nurturing, loving, grounded individual here. We have the Lovers. So this can be indicate like a decision or a conflict, you know, within a person that has to be reconciled, or it can also be, you know, indicating a relationship, you know, a soulmate or twin flame relationship. And in the context of the other cards, I'm kind of taking it that way because the other card we have is the Ace of Cups. So there's some new love coming in, or it could be self-love, you know, it could be either of those things, but something coming to this Queen of Pentacles, which I'm like, woo, that's exciting. I mean, I kind of see this as my card because she's like a businesswoman and an earth sign, and that's kind of what I am. So, yay. I mean, that's great because that situation hasn't really happened for me in a while because I've been sort of in workaholic mode for some time. So maybe the good thing that's going to come out of the whole destruction and decimation that's happening right now is that maybe there will once again be room for something of that nature in my life. And maybe yours too, you know. We'll see. See what else the cards have in store. Just a reminder, welcome to the channel if you haven't been here before. I am not a full-time reader. I am a vegan cheese maker. And I do this because for me this has been like a super effective way of managing PTSD, which is something that I've been, you know, working on for some time, and this has like really helped me move through a lot of things. So I've arranged the videos on the channel in a slightly different way, in the sense that they're not organized according to date or according to zodiac sign. They're arranged according to storyline. So there's a number of kind of recurring storylines that have been coming up, and so I've kind of arranged them in threads. And there's a video on the front page of the channel that kind of explains the whole rationale and the system for doing it this way. But yeah, hopefully you can get something out of that. And thanks for joining me on this. Like, I've definitely been getting something out of it. So yeah, on to the reading. So we have the Knight of Swords at the bottom of the deck, which is interesting because I think that was actually one of the overall energies from yesterday's reading. So you might go back and look at that, or the new moon reading, one of those two. And it was, I mean, that tends to indicate like a fast-moving message that's sort of like some sort of truth being revealed, or some clarity is coming through with this message. And yeah, maybe it has to do with this, you know, we'll see what the cards say. Okay, so going forward, we have the Three of Pentacles, we have the Knight of Cups. This card came through a couple days ago, and I believe that the video is called Opportune Moment. So that might be one that you might, a storyline that you might check in with. And then the Seven of Wands, which came through yesterday, which was all about harnessing your power, and this was a big theme in yesterday's reading, if you want to check that out. So, kind of how I'm taking this is, so this is kind of building a foundation, and kind of like starting a new foundation. So there's a new foundation that's kind of coming up out of the woodwork here. And then we have the Knight of Cups. So this can be like a Prince Charming, and this is like someone coming forward with a message of love. But interestingly, it's right next to the Seven of Wands, which tends to indicate, you know, kind of having to stand in your ground, stand in your power, defending, you know, your vision for how you want things to be, you know, because maybe you're facing some sort of opposition, or there's people who aren't really into, you know, your idea of how things should go, you know, and so you're gonna have to kind of stand your ground and defend it. So the way I'm taking this is that there's someone here who's trying to build a new foundation of love. Like they want to start something new in the love arena, but they're facing some sort of opposition to doing that. But, you know, ultimately they want to start a new foundation in this regard. And this kind of makes a lot of sense because we have the Lovers and we have the Ace of Cups in the overall energy. And it, you know, it's interesting because I was talking about the Queen of Pentacles, like in my own instance, you know, like my opposition to this energy coming in for me is just that I work too much, and I have too much responsibility to have, you know, time for that. So it's like this whole thing is being decimated, and, you know, so in a sense, like maybe I'm like standing my ground to build a new foundation that will allow this to come in, you know. So that's one example, but, you know, you could be facing opposition in terms of, you know, people who are against it. You know, maybe there's, you know, other people who aren't as excited about this love coming forward as you are, you know. That could be too. Okay, so then on the bottom we have the Knight of Wands. So this can be like a player energy. Like this guy is like sort of a Prince Charming, and this guy is kind of like a player. So it's like super passionate, but he kind of comes and goes. He doesn't really stick around. Where this guy, I think, you know, there's a little more, you know, substance in the feelings department. But this guy, you know, is a real ladies' man, and everybody wants to get with him, you know. Right under the Three of Pentacles. So it looks like this player energy is wanting to, you know, rebuild a foundation. And so that's interesting to me because this harkens back to another reading from a few weeks ago called, what's it called? I think it's called Epic Love Story. No, it's in that thread, but it was all about this player energy, and he like wanted to like stop being a player, and he wanted to settle down. And oh, it's called Fairy Tale Ending. So yeah, maybe go look at that video because it kind of is the story of this guy. So, you know, maybe that's who's coming forward in this reading. We'll keep going. So then next we have the Empress. So the Empress is like a real fertile, feminine, powerful energy. It's like giving birth to something. So giving birth to a human or giving birth to some sort of new beginning. You know, she's very powerful in her manifestation, and you know, so she could be giving birth to any number of situations, but she's coming right under this Prince Charming, this Knight of Cups. So it's interesting because in the Opportune Moment video, which was a couple days ago, it's called Opportune Moment, there was this whole thread in there about this emperor who wanted to offer his cup of love to his counterpart. And interestingly, that's this. The emperor and the empress are a couple in the deck, you know? So it's like, it's almost like he was trying to figure out how he could do this, you know, in this video a couple days ago called Opportune Moment. And it looks like maybe now he is coming forward to the Empress energy. And then we also have the Hermit card. So this is like someone who kind of withdraws from society, focuses inward, and is looking, you know, for sort of spiritual guidance. And it's falling right under the Seven of Wands. So, you know, this kind of indicates to me that maybe there's like an act of defiance in the sense of, you know, standing up for this love that they want to bring in, but maybe the means of doing that is just kind of withdrawing from society. Like that's how they stood their ground, or whoever was facing this opposition, you know. Well, and I can say in my own case, you know, I just kind of would say that's true. I mean, for one, I'm a Virgo, that's this card, but also I just kind of withdrew because I knew I didn't have time, and I focused on work and other stuff. Yeah, but you know, that could play out in a number of ways. You could just, you know, spend a bunch of time working, spend a bunch of time with yourself, you know, go on a trip, like move somewhere. I mean, there's a lot of ways to sort of avoid opposing forces in your environment, you know. Okay, so I just pulled 3 more cards of guidance, and so we got the Eight of Swords, which kind of fell right over this 3 of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands. So this player guy who's wanting to build a solid foundation here is like, he's kind of trapped in his own feelings right now. Like he can't see a path forward. He's kind of blindfolded by all of his emotions, and he's not really seeing past that right now. So he's a little bit stuck, you know. And then we have the Six of Cups, which is a soulmate card, which, you know, this tends to indicate that this message of love that is going to this Empress, and again, like this is reminding me of the Opportune Moment video that you could check out. Like this is a meant to be connection, and it looks like it's a connection from the past, you know. So that's interesting because I think that came up in the Opportune Moment. And then the day before that, there was a video called Fated Reunion about these soulmates from the past that were coming back together. And then we have the Page of Pentacles. So this is just like a very beginnings of a small offer of like movement forward, which is interesting because I think this came up in the new moon, either the new moon reading or yesterday's reading. And so like in order to sort of avoid and minimize this conflict, it's like it seems like the advice here is to just take it slow, you know. Don't rush into things like this. If something's meant to be, it's meant to be. So you don't have to hurry, you know. But you know, this came up a lot in the new moon reading. Like really try to be conscious about where you're putting your energy, because if you're gonna, you know, support all this anxiety, and you know, that's what you're gonna bring forward. And so, you know, really try to be conscious about letting go of this energy is some advice there. Okay, I'm gonna pull 1 card from the Sacred Traveler Oracle just to close out the reading, and we'll see what kind of advice we get from there. But yeah, definitely looks like some shifts and changes are starting to unfold. And yeah, time will tell like what that leads to. But interesting, the card that we got from Sacred Travel is Crossing Bridges. It's time for healing, connecting, mending, and releasing. So interesting. It looks like, you know, there's been like a lot of conflict and, you know, blockages to this coming into fruition. And yeah, this reading is really hearkening back to a couple threads that have been very prominent on the channel lately. One's called Epic Love Saga, one's called Dynasty, and it's all about this empire that's being built. There was like a love affair between, you know, like these two counterparts, and it was being blocked by some sort of toxic situation, and that's kind of like being dissolved now and creating like a new opening for something to emerge. And so to me, this is like a continuation of these threads, so I'm definitely going to link those videos up. But it's exciting. I mean, it definitely looks like healing some sort of situation from the past is bringing in like a new love situation and building the foundation for something solid in the future. So, you know, focus on healing. Don't focus on the negative. Take it slow. Don't rush. Because if something's meant to be, it will be. So just take heart.